just a smile. Amen. Sometimes that's all we need is a smile. Am I right? That helps us and motivates us, and we're just excited about being here tonight because I believe we have solutions to a lot of our problems that we're having in our community. Would you agree with me? So let me first welcome you. I'm Bishop Birch. I'm from the St. Andrew and St. Philip's Missionary Baptist Churches right here in San Francisco. And I also work with the Baby YMCA for 24 years, and I am a community activist right here in the city of San Francisco. So what we're doing tonight has been a long struggle, but we're on our way. And we're so happy tonight to have with us our grandparents. It started with them. And we asked our grandparents to stand up, grandparents, stand up. Show them what we're working with. They labored with that, and we said we're so happy to have Innovate to be a part of it. And when we had our problem, first place we went to was Innovate. And they brought in Brother Chris, which you're going to hear from tonight, because, you know, when you become a grandparent, you just don't have that. Now, I was an A student. I was on the honor roll every year where I come from, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But I got old now, a little old, and I don't have that knowledge that I used to have. Things, so much has changed. And, you know, everything don't change. And after a while, math changed, and then I learned arithmetic. Anybody? Anybody did arithmetic? Amen. Then it became math, then algebra, then it just changed up trigonometry. I couldn't handle that. And here come my babies at home with that work for me to do. I couldn't do it. So grandparents, we had a desire to get out and find somebody that can help us. And through Innovate, we worked through Innovate. Innovate came up with Chris, and Chris is here tonight. And you're going to hear some exciting things about what we can do about our tutoring problems that we have. I believe the problem is solved. That's just what I believe. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, we don't solve the problem. Solve the problem. Sound like we're in church in here, don't we? I'll tell you what, we're going to do for offering. Amen? Amen. But we actually get involved, and I'm going to move forward. I believe I had 5 minutes, so we're going to have our next speaker to come, and we welcome you once again for being here. Pat yourself on the back for being here.
Gracias, Reverendo Bishop. Mi nombre es Cintia Segura, soy una madre líder también con Innovate Public School. Quiero darle la bienvenida a todos por tomarse la noche y estar aquí presentes. Yo tengo actualmente 2 hijas que ya están fuera del distrito escolar. Hace 8 años casi que estuve con Innovate Public School. Comencé, ellas estaban en el distrito escolar en las escuelas Lowell High School y con Gateway High School. Quiero darle la bienvenida también a los comisionados. Quiero darle la bienvenida a los comisionados que están aquí con nosotros. Es Bill Kim y gracias por estar aquí. Y Cecilia Ray, gracias, bienvenida. También están acompañándonos a través de Zoom Ann Walden de San Francisco Education Fund. Está Eliden de Learning Partners. Angelica Alexander de Andromeda Math Tutoring. Bueno, y voy a hablar un poco de lo que es Innovate, la credencial de nosotros, y un poco más adelante de lo que hemos estado trabajando. ¿Sí? Un poco de lo que hemos estado trabajando durante estos años acerca de tutoría. Somos Innovate Public Schools, una organización que lucha para que los padres de familia tengan poder. Creemos que el sistema educativo no fue diseñado para servir a todos los niños. Estamos dedicados a desarrollar la capacidad de liderazgo de los padres de familia en nuestras comunidades para organizar, abogar y exigir escuelas de alta calidad para nuestros estudiantes. Nuestra misión es asociarnos con las familias y comunidades más marginadas para alzar todas nuestras voces y empoderarnos para abogar por los cambios que queremos ver en nuestros niños dentro de las de nuestra comunidad. Un poco de lo que hemos hecho en estos años es que los padres líderes de Innovate en San Francisco hemos estado abogando por programas de tutoría de alta calidad para los estudiantes de bajos ingresos más afectados por la pérdida de aprendizaje durante la pandemia. Hemos tenido éxito en apoyar el lanzamiento de 2 programas de tutoría BookNook, un programa de alfabetización iniciado por padres líderes de Innovate y que continúa siendo proporcionado por el Distrito Escolar de San Francisco, y Alexander Tutoring, otro programa de tutoría muy riguroso de matemáticas que ofrece a cientos de estudiantes acceso a una experiencia de tutoría de alta calidad sin costo alguno. Ambos proyectos de tutoría no fueron financiados por el Distrito Escolar, sino por nosotros los padres líderes y empleados de Innovate que recaudamos los fondos por fundaciones privadas. Nosotros los padres líderes tenemos la experiencia de que la tutoría sí funciona. Los programas de tutoría ayudan a los estudiantes a ponerse al día y mejorar sus calificaciones, desarrollar confianza en sí mismos y desarrollar sólidas habilidades de lectura y matemáticas. También brinda a los estudiantes un nivel de apoyo individualizado que desafortunadamente no reciben en las escuelas. La tutoría de alta calidad es costosa y está cada vez más fuera del alcance de los padres, especialmente con esta economía. Nos alegra ver que muchos estudiantes reciben tutoría de alta calidad de forma gratuita y queremos asegurarnos de que más estudiantes tengan acceso a estos recursos. Creemos que todos los estudiantes merecen un programa de tutoría de alta calidad, por lo que continuamos asociándonos con fundaciones, organizaciones comunitarias y proveedores de tutoría para hacer posible que la tutoría sea para todos los estudiantes de San Francisco. Ahora voy a llamar aquí a micrófono a mis compañeras Rosario González y Carmen Rodríguez, que nos van a dar su testimonio.
Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for opening your agenda to come here this night. I really appreciate that. So basically, our story, you already hear something from Cynthia. What we've been doing during the pandemic, we have been struggling without kiddos, so it was something very hard for us because after pandemic, we have a lot of activities every day. So then the pandemic arrived and we've been in house for so long time. Our children been so sad and lost a lot of learning. So by the time they opened the school, it was only for hybrid. It was a couple hours during the day. It was very difficult, especially for my family because my children been doing a lot of activities, extracurriculums. By the time they cut everything, they've been having social emotional things. So besides that, lost learning. So in that moment, we've been in Innovate working in IP because also I have 4 children. The other one right now is in college, San Francisco State, and my daughter is in freshman in high school and lower school, and my other 2 are in the Unified District, so 4th grade and 1st grade. So as a mother, and I see, and also I work in another organization, no-profit organization, so I see all the people are suffering for this. And I work very close with the Unified District, and I see all the families, and I hear what it says. My children have a struggling, my children don't have enough support in the school. So by the time I've been working in IPs, making adjustments, and we've been hearing from them because over there too we have a lot of difficulties when we go in there. We don't have correct interpretation or translation. So we're wasting a lot of information, so we try to fix that. So we do a lot of great job on that part, and then the other team in Innovate been working in tutoring, and they say, Rosario, could you like to join us? And I told them, are you sure? Because when I'll be there, so probably you wanna ask me something, and when we're talking about education, I'm not joking, because I want the best, not just for my children, for all the children, especially for the low income. We have a lot of struggles in the areas we go to school, we don't have all the services. And you know me, I'm not lying. So, well, we start working, we create the first tutoring. It was all right, but it was a little bit, the first time join tutoring and for so many people, and I would like to thank the donors, the people who provide the money for that tutoring. But then, there is no ending, so we start working in more funding. And Belen do such an amazing job with another team from Innovate, and we connect with another person they would like to helping us with money. So I been there, I give my testimony. We needed the help, but we couldn't afford the tutoring. You know how much they pay in the city? So we pay high rent. The food is expensive. So as immigrant, and my husband work all day, I work all day, but even it's not enough to pay all the stuff and pay tutoring, because tutoring is no cheaper, right? So I've been working hard. My husband being a support with me, because he says, okay, you wanna do this, I be supporting you. So we talk, we have a different meetings, so that was the second time I be with Alexander Tutoring in that time. So by the time we received the money, it called Andromeda. So I always say, Andromeda or Alexander Math Tutoring, they didn't pay me to give a promotion. The promotion I give to them is because I see my son having finished the middle school, having transitional for high school. He been reclassified in that time, so he didn't know very much in math. So when you start freshman, so freshman, 10, 11, that's the main point, decide your life. If you don't do well in those years, your career is over. So I talked to him and also another donors, and we have the money. So by the time I start making a decision, who's wanna be the provided tutoring of the children. So I be very strong with that, because they have a couple tutories they wanna do, but by the time my tutoring been giving tutoring for my son for around 1 semester, and I see there's such a difference. In 1 semester, my son can take 2 math classes, algebra and geometry. And also, right now, I'm feeling sad, because when I went to talk to the consul really told me, I want to say it because something happened in my life. He told me, why your son wants 2 classes on math? So no Spanish person or no Latin person take 2 classes on math, never. So you can take another one, but no math. Math is not for you guys. And I feel so sad and so I want to say bad word to him, but I couldn't, right? Because by the time, he raising me, right? So as a mother, I told him, really, are you helping me or I going to the district? And he says, oh no, I give the classes. And I said, yes, thank you. If he couldn't make those classes, he dropped the classes. But your job is give the classes to my son. So okay, they get the classes. Andromeda helped my son. He just went on through the high school with A's and B's. And right now, he been accepted in different universities. And I want to say thank you to the donors and also the Mad Alexander Guadomeda, because he's part of my son's life and actually changed my life. And that's why we are here tonight. Not just because somebody changed my son's life, but I want, more like this for all this community, for all of you guys. I want to say, yes, keep working together to make the goal. We can make it. So, and one more time, so I know you are in Zoom. Thank you for spending your time with us, and I hopefully we continue working because today I'm here to say thank you, to give my testimony, but also I want to hear in the future more testimonies like mine. Many of our children are in the college with good grades, and right now he's studying computer science. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, gracias por estar aquí. Buenas tardes, gracias por estar aquí. Mi nombre es Carmen Rodríguez. Vivo aquí en San Francisco, soy una madre líder de Innovate. Tengo 3 hijos, son aprendices de inglés y 2 de ellos tienen un IT. Como muchísimos estudiantes en California, mis hijos tienen esas 2 etiquetas, aprendices de inglés y estudiantes de educación especial. Por eso estoy aquí hoy. Durante la pandemia, a los padres de familia nos tocó ser coeducadores de nuestros hijos. Para mí fue muy difícil apoyar a mis hijos en casa, especialmente a mi hijo Abel, que tiene dislexia y ansiedad. Fue muy difícil conseguir una evaluación de la escuela para mi hijo. La lectura y la escritura se le dificulta. La tutoría que recibe en la escuela no es 1 a 1. Yo sé que mi hijo, si tuviera la oportunidad de tener una tutoría de calidad con su diagnóstico, tener una tutoría 1 a 1, él se sentiría más seguro en saber que él sí puede aprender a leer y escribir por sí mismo. Lo sé porque lo miré cuando mi hija recibió una tutoría 1 a 1 a través de una beca de Sean Alexander que me ayudó Innovate Public School a conseguir. Esa tutoría le ayuda a mi hija a no frustrarse en las materias de matemáticas. Mi hijo Ángel encontró mucho apoyo de parte de su mentor en una tutoría de 826 Valencia y él sí quien le ayudó a navegar sus ansiedades, y como madre me sentí muy apoyada por ellos. Ángel se sintió bienvenido y su ansiedad redujo significativamente. Cuando fue parte de este programa, su mentor le hablaba para ver cómo estaba. Mi hijo no solo recibió apoyo académico, sino que también su salud mental se benefició por el apoyo que recibió. Sin duda, mis 3 hijos y otros estudiantes de educación especial y aprendices de inglés se han atrasado mucho. Ya ha pasado más de 1 año sin recibir instrucción adecuada por maestros. Los maestros están muy ocupados y cansados, y mis hijos y estudiantes de nuestro distrito están sufriendo las consecuencias. Existen programas de tutoría de calidad, pero son muy caros y muchas veces se llenan rápido. No tenemos el dinero para tutorías privadas. Es injusto que los estudiantes de bajos recursos no puedan recibir una tutoría de calidad. Es muy grave que nuestros hijos se han atrasado muchísimo y que los distritos no tienen un plan para acelerar el aprendizaje. Es por eso que hoy estoy aquí con otros padres de Innovate para abogar por mis hijos y otros niños de bajos recursos, aprendices de inglés y educación especial, para que ellos reciban educación de calidad, ya que antes estaban atrasados académicamente y la pandemia ha agravado más la situación. Es directamente accesible para organizaciones comunitarias sin fines de lucro que están apoyando a estudiantes y a familias con la salud mental y a recuperarse de la pérdida de aprendizaje. Invito a todos a poner su mano en el corazón y piensen en sus hijos y mis hijos, y que la educación que queremos darles, y que su raza, discapacidad o estatus económico no sea una barrera para que ellos tengan educación de calidad. Gracias.
Gracias, Gracias Carmen, gracias Rosario por compartir con nosotros sus testimonios y las experiencias que han tenido con cada uno de sus hijos. Y estoy segura que los papás que estamos aquí presentes hemos tenido ese tipo de experiencias en alguna forma. Ahora le voy a dar la palabra a Susan Fourm, que nos va a dar un reporte de investigación.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody for coming. Slide is up there. Okay, great. We know that tutoring works. Research shows that high quality tutoring results in 4 to 15 months of additional learning. Next slide. What is high quality tutoring? This year, Innovate Public Schools worked with Stanford University's National Student Support Accelerator. We created a toolkit about high-quality tutoring for families. This toolkit reached many national platforms, including the White House. So let's get into it. What is high-quality tutoring? We know that tutoring becomes high quality when students receive extra learning time in small group or in a one-on-one setting. When tutoring happens at least 3 times per week for about 30 minutes each time. When the tutor builds a good relationship which helps the student learn and enjoy tutoring. When tutors use activities and quizzes to check on progress. When tutoring is aligned with what the student is learning in school, and when the tutor receives quality training and support. Next slide. Okay, stare at that slide for a minute. Why do we need it? During the pandemic, students were stuck at home. Zoom was school for them. They were not interacting with teachers or tutors. This resulted in severe learning loss. Even before the pandemic, Black and Latino students have historically suffered from a vast opportunity gap. As you can see from this school year's data, the opportunity gap continues. As of the latest year, 2023-24 school year in SFUSD, only 14% of low-income Black students and 21% of low-income Latino students were on grade level in English. This is compared to 66% of low-income Asians and 57% of low-income white students. Next slide. Okay, this is the same kind of graph, but with math. The results for math are even worse in SFUSD, with 8% low-income Black students and 13% low-income Latino students on grade level in math, compared to 62% for low-income Asian students and 48% for low-income white students. We know that our Black and Latino students are brilliant and capable. They are not the problem. Our system is the problem. That is why we are here tonight. We know how to solve this. Next slide. No tutoring was offered to students that were hardest hit during the pandemic. Innovate families organized in Los Angeles, San Jose, and San Francisco to seek private donations and local government funding for tutoring outside the school districts. Our families saw their children falling behind. Zoom classroom wasn't working for them. The school districts in those cities left them behind. Our families could not afford to hire private tutors to help their children keep up with their schoolwork. Next slide. Okay, stare at that. Here in this slide, you will see some of the work that has been going on at Innovate. In San Jose, we received a $2 million commitment from the city. These funds will serve 1,000 students from 2023 to 2025. In Greater Los Angeles, 2 cities committed $1 million of funding and 1,000 students were served. In San Francisco, right here, Innovate raised $700,000 in private donations to serve over 1,200 students during the pandemic. These are private funds, not school district funds. These initial private donations created an effective tutoring pilot where there was none before. As a result of Innovate's successful pilot, SFUSD has begun to partner with the city's DCYF to serve many more students with tutoring. Shout out to all the families advocating for getting high quality tutoring for their communities. However, this cannot be a one-time effort for low-income students in San Francisco. We would like our elected officials, I'm looking at you too, and leaders and the superintendent to prioritize and expand high-quality tutoring service to the most underserved students in San Francisco. They deserve it. Okay, we have shown what is possible when we rally together in the face of the COVID crisis. But our children are still recovering from the deep learning loss caused by the pandemic. We need to double and triple our commitment to Black and Latino students. Students can't wait. Now, I'll pass it to Chris Norwood. We are lucky to have an expert like him join us. Next slide.
Well, good evening. Why does that always happen that way? When someone says good evening, the audience is like, good evening, and the energy that I get from you, I get a chance to give back. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Chris Norwood. I'm the founding director of Bay Area Tutoring Association. And who you see on the screen, those are my 2 children. My daughter on the right, Yasmin Norwood, she is currently 23 years old, and she is a graduate of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo with a degree in psychology. And my son, John Norwood, he is 20 years old. He's currently at San Jose State. He's all academic football player with a major in aviation. The reason why I wanted to start out by showing them was because they've been tutored since they were 3 years old. They are used to being tutored. When they walk into a room and they have a question, they're not afraid to ask an adult because they've been tutored for a very long time. And so when we talk about high quality tutoring, I want to go a little bit deeper and talk about the fact that for a number of years, as a matter of fact, as long as I can remember, Black and brown students have not been tutored in public school. There are a variety of reasons. I don't throw rocks at anybody. I just say the fact that there is something that we can do now about changing that situation. Next slide, please. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There's a ton of research that I'm going to share a little bit about in this conversation about high-quality tutoring, about what's happening across the country, in a number of states across the country. But it's not quite caught fire in the state of California. It has not quite caught fire in the Bay Area. And one of the reasons why we're here tonight is to start that fire. Is to remind people the fact that the country is paying attention to high dosage tutoring. States are implementing high dosage tutoring. They are funding high dosage, high quality tutoring. And the state of California, which has the 5th largest economy in the world, is slow to react. But sometimes folks need a little bit of a push to react. And that's why I'm going to share a little bit more information with you tonight. Next slide, please. Now, in case you haven't heard, the city of Oakland, right next door, they've started to invest in high dosage tutoring. And the Stephen Curry Eat, Play Foundation has invested more than $25 million to Oakland schools to continue tutoring and to move into the high dosage tutoring, high quality tutoring space. Let's give them a big round of applause. This is a scenario where philanthropy knows and leadership knows that they have to partner with our public schools in order to make an impact in underserved communities. The school districts provide a lot of resources to our communities, but this one they can't do alone. Everybody say private money. Private money. Everybody say private money. Private money. When you have private money partnering with public education dollars, you have the ability to support and lift up communities like they've never been lifted up before. You heard a little bit earlier about what Innovate Public Schools was able to do in the city of San Francisco with raising $700,000. You heard what they were able to do with advocating in the city of San Jose and down in the Los Angeles area. You've heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a healthy village to raise a healthy child. And in order for us to be healthy, we have to all work together. Next slide, please. So again, I mentioned a little bit earlier the fact that the high dosage, high quality tutoring across the country continues to grow. There's conversation about legislation in terms of tutoring across the country. There's conversation in the state of California about what should we do and what can we do. Now, my colleague Sophia said we don't want the low touch tutoring, what they commonly call homework help. We want the tutoring that allows our children to build their skills. We want the tutoring that allows our students to feel confident in the classroom. We want the type of tutoring that allows them to build relationships, sometimes with people that look just like them because the teacher may not. We want to fuel the education pipeline with people that look like our children, that want to give back to their community. Those are the things that high dosage tutoring, high quality tutoring is doing across the country, and that we want to have that happen right here in the city of San Francisco. Next slide, please. So, quickly, the elements of high impact tutoring. Research shows us that when the tutoring happens during the school day, because we know that sometimes our children are sitting in class, they don't understand what's going on, the teacher doesn't have time for them. That child can be tutored right there in that classroom. So we're talking about high quality tutoring is embedded within the school day. High quality tutoring, the data drives the instruction. How many minutes did we work with that child or that group of children on that one particular subject with that dedicated time? Because we know that most classrooms, 1 to 20, 1 to 25, that is the teacher to student ratio. How can every child with different abilities, with different languages, get the education that they need? By embedding high quality tutoring into the school day, you will see a dramatic change within a 2-week time frame. The children will come home a bit more confident. The children will come home talking about their education, because why? They have someone who's able to communicate with them in real time when they're working on learning something. Consistent, well-supported tutors. Tutors need to be professionally trained. Just announced a couple of days ago, Arizona State University now has a micro-credentialing program for tutors. Yes, a micro-credentialing program for tutors. Again, the movement across the country is continuing to grow. Institutions of higher education are continuing to do the research and saying, we know this works. And now we have to find advocates, such as Innovate Public Schools, the parents, the commissioners, the funders in the city to be a part of this ongoing movement. And then finally, high quality materials, 3 sessions per week, 3 to 1 student to tutor ratio really makes it happen. Imagine your child being able to sit in their classroom in a learning environment with a young adult. Could be somebody from one of the local universities, could be a retired professional, could be someone who's looking to change their career, to sit with them, to listen to them reason out their answers, and sometimes in their native language. Sometimes in their native language. Because we know in education there is a cultural element to it. It's rarely talked about, but we all know that there's a cultural element to learning. Academic English isn't at-home English. So when you add that cultural element to the tutoring, to the building of the relationship, and let me be clear when I say culture, it doesn't have to be a black tutor tutoring a black child. It has to be a caring person who recognizes their own biases for whatever reason, but they're there for one reason. And that reason is to make a difference in the life of that child so that they have options and not issues. Everybody say options, not issues. Next slide, please. So again, we talk about the tutoring movement growing. 46% of schools across the country have some sort of high-impact tutoring that they're trying on. Approaches include what we commonly call MTSS, multi-tier system of support integration. That's that public education speak, that they know exactly what you're talking about in terms of tier 1 or tier 2 intervention. They also have sometimes paraeducators as tutors. And then an element of the instructional reforms, meaning being built into the school day. Tutoring is not naturally designed to be built into the school day. So it will take persistence, it will take time, but you can move the needle a little bit at a time. Each school having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tutors. That is totally possible. But it's going to take your persistence. It's going to take your support. It's going to take your voice. And it's going to take the funding of your community. Because when the community acts, the electeds act, the state acts. That is typically the way it goes. When the community acts, the district acts, the state acts. Facilitators include, again, universities. There are a number of college students that are on a federal work study. That means that their compensation is being paid for by the federal government because their college education is being subsidized. So we have tutors on college campuses right now not being integrated into our school systems. Yes. Then also the tutoring providers, looking at the model, what's called outcomes-based contracting. Because tutoring providers should be on campuses not to provide services, but to deliver outcomes. That means the same tutors on the school sites. That means being there consistently. That means being trained and professional development ongoing. Why? Because what we've experienced in our organization, Bay Area Tutoring Association, is that a number of our tutors have now moved into pathways of being educators. And that's what we want. We want our local students, we want the students that come from other areas that care deeply about education to be our next generation of educators in our community. And then also in partnership with the Stanford University, as the Innovate Public Schools mentioned earlier, National Student Support Accelerator, they have a badging process. We are going through that badging process, and I will tell you it is no joke. They want to make sure that you have the ability to account for every minute of tutoring time. They want to make sure that you have the ability to account for what the student worked on, what their feedback was, and then at the end, doing a post-survey of the student to check the social emotional learning and their well-being. Tutoring is serious business, especially when it comes to underserved communities. Quick question? Which part?
What you just said about the kids and the tutor high goals.
Right. Okay. So the badging process, they want the tutors and the programs to be able to account for each time that they're there. They want to be able to account for how many minutes they are spending with the students. They want to be able to account what you worked on. And they also want to get feedback from the student real time on their experience. So that's that cycle of inquiry. That's what learning takes. It takes that individual or that small group relationship with someone, a caring adult, and the teacher. Now let me be clear, tutoring does not replace teaching by any means. Tutoring is a complement. So you know what? I want to take a pause right here. Could we give all of the educators in the system a big round of applause, please? Being the founding director of Bay Area Tutoring Association for over 10 years, I will tell you that when parents come to me and they talk about what's going on in their schools and they're complaining and they're giving me all the things that they want to say, the first thing that I say is that, do you want to teach your child? Oh, no, I could never do that job, right? So I'm like, it's difficult to throw rocks. No, not all teachers are perfect, but they have chosen a career, a profession that deserves to be recognized, that deserves to be honored, that deserves to be supported so that they can show up every day and be their best selves. So when we embed tutors into school systems, when we embed tutors into classrooms, our goal is to give that teacher that space so that they can be their best selves, that they know that they have a trusted young adult or adult in the classroom partnering with them, supporting them in the areas that they choose so that they can serve the entire classroom. Next slide, please. So here's across the country. In partnership with the National Student Support Accelerator at Stanford University, these are all the different locations where they have high dosage tutoring pilots going on. And you'll notice, this is where we live. Everybody say there's not a lot going on. But that's gonna change. A little bit louder, but that's gonna change. So understanding the fact that high quality tutoring, high dosage tutoring, tutoring during the school day, with highly trained tutors, with an organization that understands how to meet the needs of students and partner with school districts, not criticize, because we know how difficult that is. Next slide. I came up here, I'm about to transition. My name is Chris Norwood. I'm the founding director of Bay Area Tutoring Association. I'm also involved in a school district down in the Santa Clara County, so I know all of the things that school boards deal with as well as school districts. And I'm excited to be here to be a part of the work that you guys are going to do in your community. Keep it up, keep the conversation going, and keep fighting for what's right. Thank you.
Gracias, señor Norwood, por compartir con nosotros qué tan importantes son las tutorías y por qué importan a nosotros los padres en San Francisco. Ahora vamos a llamar a dos testimonios que tenemos por parte de dos estudiantes del distrito escolar. Es Alison Hernández y Naomi Rubí Calendario Carreño. Adelante, por favor.
Good evening, everyone. For being with us tonight. My name is Alison Hernandez. I'm a student at Lowell High School. Before I received tutoring from Alexander Tutoring Program, I found myself struggling with my classes and felt overwhelmed with the amount of homework I would have to accomplish every night, and there would be times where I felt like I wanted to give up. My mom wasn't very supportive of the idea of me switching schools that was known for an easier school, because it felt like the only option I had. to be able to be academically successful, even healthier for my mental health. Once I began math tutoring program, I felt my discouragement from my academics fade away, and I was able to succeed at Lowell High School. This is my own experience. I highly believe there should be programs that offer tutoring for kids like me in San Francisco because it will help me and them excel. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Naomi, a current senior at Downtown High School, and I'm one of the students that had the one-on-one Alexander math tutoring. The math sessions were offered once a week for an hour. During the 2 years in which I received this math tutoring session, they have helped me better my education. I have seen an improvement in my grades. For instance, my grades at Lowell High School and Downtown High School have gone up 2 letters in algebra from a low D to a plus B. I might not be attending Lowell High School anymore, but the program has still benefited my understanding of math at Downtown High School. The Alexander math tutoring has also benefited my personal life by impacting my day-to-day use of math when managing money and managing expenses, demonstrating the benefits the program has given to me. The tutors were not only extremely understanding and helpful during these math sessions, but they also showed patience, something that the majority of the district teachers find difficult, as demonstrated by tutoring. I would learn more of the materials in an hour of tutoring than I would in a typical class, which is a good thing in improving my learning, but it shows the lack of education the district is giving our schools. We all need the same educational resources regardless of family money. Therefore, it's disheartening to see all the inequality around us. Every children should be granted the same level of educational support. Not only am I grateful for the increased understanding and learning, but I'm also grateful for the opportunity Innovate has given me to take this tutoring, because as a Hispanic, I understand how difficult it can be for most people, including my family, to pay for a skilled tutor. Because of this program, I was able to improve my understanding of my math classes and push my learning to a new level. To wrap it up, the Alexander Math Tutoring Program has brought me improvements in my learning, improvements in grades, more confidence to participate in actual math classes, a much more comfortable feeling in my math classes without the fear of being inaccurate, and other additional advantages. Alexander Math Tutoring has changed my ways of grasping the understanding in math classes positively, and for that I thank Alexander Math Tutoring. I also want to thank all the moms and my mom that have been involved with Innovate, fighting for a change in our education. And thanks to Sean Alexander and Andromeda for making this program possible. Thank you.
Gracias, Naomi. Gracias, Alison. Ahora le voy a pasar la palabra a Tania Schultz, que tiene unas preguntas para los comisionados. ¿Quisieran pasar a la mesa, por favor, para hacer las preguntas?
Thank you. I'm going to use my mom voice. You guys can hear me? Okay. I'll give you guys a minute. Thank you for being here. Everything you've been listening to everyone so far. Right from the students, the parents, Chris, the research from Susan. I have 2 questions. So the first one's a little long. If you want me to repeat it, please tell me. Would you be able to champion and pledge to work with us to identify city resources and find ways to collaborate to advocate for free, high-quality tutoring services for low-income students, especially students with barriers and special needs?
Absolutely. I would be very, very supportive of providing free tutoring resources to kids and finding ways to ensure that we can do that within the school, since that will maximize kids' access to those resources.
Hello everyone, Phil Kim, Commissioner on the school board, and absolutely, we know these solutions work. There is no reason why our city, our district cannot work together to ensure that we not just deliver on services, but we see outcomes change. As a district, we talk often about how we want to center student experiences, learning experiences, outcomes for kids in the conversations we have at the boardroom, in the conversations we have in the district. And for solutions that we know move outcomes for kids, there's no reason why we can't come together to make that work. So I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to support.
I'm gonna go here. That was advice to go here. So the next question will be, would you help us to schedule a meeting with Maria Sue? This is important because I know, like firsthand, a lot of times, information needs to go sometimes from the ground up and from up down. And with Maria Sue being the new superintendent, she may not know a lot of, what the work that we've been doing, or even know of the services that we are able to provide. We have been doing for the last many, many years. That's why we are asking if you would be able to help us schedule a meeting with Maria Sue.
I'm going to defer to Phil on this one.
Sure.
I just ran for office. I'm not a commissioner yet, so I can't promise anything as regards to Maria Sue, but I would do my best to help once I am actually on the board.
Let me congratulate Superior Ray for her. Absolutely. I mean, it is our job as commissioners, and we say this often, to represent the vision and values of the community. And we hire one person to oversee the day-to-day operations of our district to ensure that the outcomes that we set as a board are realized. And so there's no reason why I don't think the superintendent would be happy to meet with you all to discuss tutoring.
Thank you. Those are my questions, but is there anything that you would like to share or comment back on what we shared tonight?
Hi everyone. I just want to share a couple of things. First, how grateful I am that you are all here and that you are committed and motivated to work for change. I know it can be really hard, as parents, as grandparents, as family members, as members of the community, as education advocates. We're all doing a lot of things and wearing a lot of hats, and you took your time out today to come to this and to try to advance this really, really important cause. If our kids can't read well, if they can't do math well, that's going to hamper them in their opportunities in life and their ability to pursue whatever path it is that they want to pursue. I feel really strongly that it is our job as folks as someone who will be on the Board of Education, as folks who are committed in the community, as a city, for all of us, to make sure that kids can find and follow the path that will be motivating and productive and meaningful for them, things that will help them to become thriving members of our society. So that is a huge part of my passion and why I ran to begin with, to try to make sure that kids do have those opportunities and access. And I know from personal experience how critical it is to have those basic, strong, foundational skills. I came from very significant childhood trauma and adversity. My path to transformation was through education. I know what that means on a personal level, and I want to make sure that we give that opportunity to everyone. Thank you.
I just want to begin by thanking Innovate, not just for tonight, but I ran for school board back in 2016, 2018, and I had met with Innovate. Belen was there, and the passion, the energy, the commitment, the focus of families through Innovate was not just inspiring, but it frankly, it helped to power a really strong campaign for myself and recommitted me to knowing that there's not just work ahead, but we have work to do to see outcomes change for a city that deserves an excellent, incredible school system that we are very slowly working towards right now. And I don't forget that moment when I came here and I met with Innovate families, and I remember the ask, the commitment to not just run a campaign that was focused on kids, but that as a city we would come together and that I would be at the table with you all in conversations just like this. That was years ago, and I am very, very grateful to be here right now as a commissioner, looking at you all in the face, saying hello, thank you, and yes, like we need to come together to be able to find these solutions and more. So just a lot of gratitude. I come to you today in part a commissioner, but frankly, first and foremost as an educator. I began my time in the classroom. I worked for over a decade in teaching and learning, curriculum instruction in schools across the country and here in San Francisco Unified. And I could not agree more with the work that has been shared today around the need to ensure that tutoring is not a standalone practice or system, but it really does integrate with the good work that our educators are doing in the classroom, so that there's a true relationship that's being built, not just between a teacher and a student, but between a teacher, a student, and content, right? That they are deepening their love of learning, and tutoring can help us get there. And so thank you for your advocacy, thank you for being here today. I'm very honored and grateful to be in community with you today, and I'm hopefully getting the chance to meet with many of you more after this. Thank you.
Questions? Are we able to ask questions? Are we saving that for later?
Belén, vamos a tener tiempo para dar preguntas.
We're going to have time for questions.
3 minutos para preguntas. ¿Están listas
Yeah, we're
las
going to have
personas?
3 minutes for questions.
¿Están listos los papás para las preguntas?
Are you guys ready to ask questions?
I just have one question. The gentleman, Chris, he mentioned that his daughter and son, they started tutoring at the age of 3 years old. Would that be a good age to start, or you can start even younger as a grandparent? And then I have 2 granddaughters. One is Hispanic and African American, and one is Asian and African American. So what would be a good age to get them started, so the transition won't be as, it will be a little bit easier for them when they get into the high school?
Yeah, I did it.
So actually, my children, they were getting tutoring before they got here. I was with my wife in her tummy, and I was singing ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and all of that other stuff. So it's never too early to start connecting your children to the academic language that our schools are going to be learning. The majority of learning, believe it or not, happens in the first 3 to 4 years of life. And then everything else after that is a practice of what they've learned. So the earlier that you start with your children in terms of teaching them academic English, teaching them the principles around public education, connecting them to your libraries, because everybody that has a college degree will tell you a library story when they were younger, makes a big difference. You're welcome.
Para cerrar, le voy a pasar la palabra a la reverenda Bishop para dar una reflexión.
I told you, didn't I? We came up with a solution, didn't we? Everybody happy? Yeah. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm happy. Now, do me. Let's do this. Let's do this. Tutoring. Come on, do tutoring. Put your fists up. Come on. Tutoring. That motivates us and get us ready. Because tonight we came here, and you ought to feel better when you leave. Am I right? You might have came mixed up, confused, but now you got a solution. Now you know what you can do. Now we're working on next steps. Am I right? So we just want to thank everybody. Thank Chris. Can Innovate? You number one. Kim, thank you for coming. Ray, thank you for coming. We really had a good time tonight. I'm trying to get home. I got 2 reports to do and some other stuff, but tutoring is the way. And we reached a solution tonight, so we're ready to move forward. Everybody ready? What did we say? Next week we're gonna get a big march to City Hall and demand them. Tutoring! Yeah, put that force. See, a lot of times you got to put force on the city. And when you put the force on them, you get a lot done. I ain't saying we're going to do that now. Innovate already worked it out. Amen. I ain't saying we ain't going to do all that. But, sometimes you have to do that. Am I right? So we just want to thank you for coming. And y'all keep up the good work. Pat yourself on the back. You did. They say it couldn't be done. But guess what? You did it and you made it happen. Good night and hang on in there. Make sure you turn in your headsets. Make sure you turn them in. Headsets. Turn them in. Your headsets. If not, you do have your name. You got to pay for it.